David Nathan's The Soulful Diva in his take on the legendary Diana Ross is up next. Let's talk. What's up, everybody out there? How you doing? Thank you guys so much for tuning in over here to Peppy's Point of View. I am your R&B historian, Peppy, and let's get right into it. I'm covering David Nathan's book, The Soulful Divas, and his take on Diana Ross. All right, Diana Ross is chapter 6 in the book. And I have not read this chapter at all either, so I'm going to see what David has to say about Diana Ross. And let's see what I have to say in response to what David has to say about Diana Ross. Again, this is not paid promotion. I don't know David Nathan. I don't know Diana Ross. Okay, just a fan of both of their works. And yes, I will say, go out and purchase the book. It's turning out to be an interesting read. It really is. All right, so let me jump right into it and let's see what David has to say. It's hard to say when exactly it became popular to bash Diana Ross. Wow. The first sentence. David, okay. You just don't know what you're going to get with David. Popular primarily among segments of the African American community, although by no means restricted to it. When I first arrived in the United States in 1975, I was shocked to hear how some people would trash her music and her persona, and how in certain instances the mere mention of her name would elicit all manner of nasty epithets. Oh my gosh. What? Wow. Generally speaking, I will hear her referred to as a bitch. It amazed me that none of the people who talked about her with such vitriol, including some other performers, had ever met or spoken with her at any time. Such is the power of gossip, rumor, and the fixed public persona or image that a diva can acquire. Let me go back to that. So basically what he's saying is that he heard it from people who never interacted with her. Interesting. So some people were calling her bitch and did not even know her. It was pretty much based off rumor and gossip is what he's saying. Oh, wow. All right. I was prompted to re-examine the American public perception of Diana Ross when I was invited to conduct an interview with her in person for a special tribute to her in Billboard magazine in 1993. Before we sat down face-to-face at a production office she was using in West Los Angeles, I analyzed the commonly held notion about her and their possible roots. Yes, it was true. She'd been an ambitious member of the Supremes, unquestionably the most popular female group in pop history. Yes, she and Berry Gordy had both admitted that they had a relationship and that his position as the founder of Motown Records hadn't exactly hurt Diana Ross's career. Yes, it was true that Florence Bella had been asked to lead the Supremes and that Diana's opinion was presumably sought on the subject. Yes, her solo career had been launched with much flair and fanfare, while the Supremes never quite recovered their consistent hit making ability. And yes, she married not one, but two white men. And oh, yes, Diana's music, both as a Supreme and as a solo artist, had crossed over, and she did appeal to gasp white as well as black audiences. Many black people thought that she sold out by marrying white men, by making pop rather than hardcore R&B records, and by sleeping with the boss. In itself, a reflection of a conniving, competitive, cutthroat bitch who would have let anything or anyone stand in her way. Child. Honey, after a long day of just sitting back and relaxing, not a busy day, just a long day of chilling, I'm here to tell you, I'm clutching my pearls right now reading this. Not only am I clutching my pearls, I'm getting a kick out and laughing about it because it's like the way David is saying it, it's funny, but at the same time, it's serious. You know, wow. Many black people thought that she had sold out by marrying white men, by making pop rather than hardcore R&B records, and by sleeping with the boss. In itself, a reflection of a conniving, competitive, cutthroat bitch who wouldn't let anything or anyone stand in her way. Diana Ross, folks said, had lost her blackness, and regardless of the whys and wherefores, she would never have left the Supremes. She should never have left the Supremes. After all, it had been the first black female group to really, ooh, child, to really make it, and Diana's exit was seen, people said, as a betrayal. She'd become successful with two other girls, and now she was leaving them behind. Years later, former Supreme Mary Wilson told her version of the group's story in her book Dreamgirls, and she didn't exactly paint a flattering picture of her former partner. In other words, Diana Ross's personified a myth, and in the same way that other powerful women had often been vilified for their desire to succeed, she was someone to be scorned, disliked, and diminished. Once again, I was amazed that at least on this side of the water, she elicited such strong reactions from most black men and women I spoke to. The power of myth is such that it is ordinarily used as the basis for now someone and proceed forever. Even when I would talk to Motown executives, supposedly in place to help sell Diana's records before doing the 1993 interview with her, they would roll their eyes, grunt, and try to add weight to the notion that she was the ultimate in difficult divas. Oh my gosh. Let me go back to that. Oh my gosh, did you hear this? Listen to this one more time. I want to make sure I understand. Once again, I was amazed that at least on the other side of the water, she elicited such strong reactions from most black men and women I spoke to. The power of the myth is such that it is ordinarily used as the basis for how someone is perceived forever. Even when I would talk to Motown executives, oh my gosh, supposedly in place to help sell Diana's records. Before doing the 1993 interview with her, they would roll their eyes, grunt, or try to add weight to the notion that she was the ultimate in difficult divas. So it's almost like they did not try to promote her because they felt like she was difficult. That's how I'm reading it. I don't know how you guys are reading it. Uh, Lost in all the rush to judgment about her was the fact that she'd been a pioneer, that she made some great music, and that she was the role model, consciously or unconsciously, for a whole generation of young black women who regarded her success as an inspiration to move forward in their own musical or acting careers. I spoken with Diana a few days before we sat down together for our interview, mindful of all that I had heard and knowing that we'd met only briefly at different times in her career. I politely called her Miss Ross. She immediately responded It's fine. Just call me Diana. She said, one myth down, several more to go. After Diana had welcomed me at the door and I was seated in her office, I found her to be intense, interesting, and very intelligent. And then it began to fall into place. Part of the reputation she saddled with might have just a little to do with the fact that she is smart, and like most good divas, she knows what she wants. Reminds you of what I was talking about when it came to Anita Baker. I mean, you if you know what you want, and you're a female and you're a black female, you're a bitch. It's just what it is. That's how people view you. Um, Now, in a white male dominated entertainment industry, these qualities aren't good. See, there you go. Black women are generally supposed to be difficult, but also passive, a little country, and invariably dependent on managers who are either husband, brothers, sons, or lovers. Speaking up for themselves only adds to the myth about how difficult they really are. Diana Ross obviously isn't a dumb broad, and it is easy to see how her ability to focus would intimidate powerful men and make enemies out of fellow performers. Another myth gone. Okay, I'm gonna read this last paragraph and see where we're going. It is common knowledge that the story of Diana Ross's rise to fame reads more like some kind of storybook fable. Basically, Diana joined a local Detroit group, the Primates, which consisted of friends Florence Ballard, Mary Wilson, and Barbara Martin in 1960 at the tender age of 16, replacing original member Betty Travis. Through Diana's neighbor William Smokey Robinson, the group auditioned for Motown founder Berry Gordy Jr., and while he liked their sound and look, he wanted them to finish school before signing them to his fledgling musical empire. In the liner notes of her 1993 Forever Diana box set, Diana recalls, that summer before we got our contracts, when I needed a job to make some extra money, I asked Barry if I could work for him. He actually hired me as a secretary, probably because I was cute and persistent, but I really wasn't a secretary. All I remember doing was clearing off his desk several times a day, awed by the important looking papers that he handled, and so wisely, and so wishing to have my name on some of them. Wow. Yeah. Well, that's David Nathan's take, the first page of chapter 6 in David Nathan's book, The Soulful Divas. I don't know. Tell me what you think. It, do your reputation precede you? You know, are they vicious rumors about Diana Ross? And how difficult she's been. Well, um, when it comes to artists such as Gladys Knight, who have spoke candidly and openly about her interactions with Diana Ross, and Patti LaBelle as well, speaking about her interaction with Diana Ross, it seems to be water under the bridge now, but they were definitely not too happy for her. But I will say this, and you have to think about it now that I'm thinking about it. What do you do if you are in a group such as the Supremes, and Diana Ross is obviously the lead singer in the group, has been positioned as a lead singer of a group? uh, it- it- People will probably be asked, like, what is your take? We're replacing this artist in the group. We're replacing Florence Ballard. We want to replace Florence Ballard. And while there are some people who will probably say, well, you need to support your band member, your group member, and try your best to, say, hey, I think she needs to stay in the group, so on and so forth. But at the same time, even if she's not asked to be in the group, it's kind of like, one of those things, you can't win for losing. You can't. Like, what happened if Diana Ross said, okay, I think she needs to stay in the group, and Barry said she goes? Then someone would look and say, well, Diana, you didn't fight hard enough. Well, he made the decision. I didn't make the decision. And now Diana Ross is looked at as saying she's been, you know, asked about her position on whether or not Florence should stay in the group. And what happens if Diana Ross says she needs to go? Then she still is not looked at as being supportive. But the group must go on. So it's a whole lot of things to play when it comes to these things and these dynamics. The only thing that I would say that I would find very troubling is the fact that, according to the movie, let's just say according to the movie, and let me put this up because this here is alleged, so it's just what it is. But let's just say, according to the movie, Dreamgirls, the play Dreamgirls, let's just say, okay, they kick her out of the group, you're gone. That's one thing. Allow her to fend for herself and to make her own success. But to, like blackball her, according to the movie, that, her records are not getting played, that you stop her success. Now, that's a whole nother level of trifleness. You understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, let me go, but wait a minute, at the same time, you're blocking my success. Nah. So I think it's more of that, if that part is true or not in the play. I've never heard anyone say that part of the movie was true. But it is true that she did take Cindy Bird's song from, the Bluebells, Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells, and that she did get Gladys Knight kicked off the show, from Motown because she was doing such a great job and, making it difficult for Diana Ross because it was such a great performance. Yeah, some of those things can be, trifling, as well. So I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is. Well, we're moving right along. So, on that note, if you have made it this far in this particular video, then I think it's only appropriate for me to ask you guys to hang out with me, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and all of that stuff. Thank you guys for your support and for watching. Um, and remember to put your behind where your heart desires to be. And whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. And I look forward to seeing you guys next video. Until then, you guys know what to do. Take care of yourselves.